Mayor and Regional Authority of Dublin Bill 2016, and last night we debated the Local Government Amendment Directly Elected Mayor of Dublin Bill 2006, proposed by my colleague here, Deputy John Lahart. I understand that agreement has been reached to defer the vote on the second stage of both these bills until June of next year, to allow further consideration by the government of these proposals and to allow for further consideration of the measures and for indeed further consultation. And I agree with that. The citizens of Dublin will need to know the details of just how such a directly elected mayor would operate before voting on the principle of having such an office. Now, I had the honour of being Lord Mayor of Dublin in 1989-1990. It was a very exciting time for Dublin. We had the Dublin Millennium celebrations in 1988. We were preparing for the Dublin becoming a European City of Culture in 1991, and we had the presidency of the European Council. So there's no doubt that the functions of the Lord Mayor of Dublin are largely ceremonial, but I wouldn't underestimate the huge amount of goodwill there is by the citizens of Dublin for the office of Lord Mayor. The Lord Mayor of Dublin, whoever he or she is highly respected, despite the political cynicism of our age, out in our communities. And I think that's something which we shouldn't forget, and indeed it's something we should harness in the interests of the Dublin region as a whole. That said, the system of local government in Dublin City, which is where I have been a member for so many years, it's not working at the moment. The Dublin City Council is simply too big. It has 63 members. It's very fragmented politically. It has very limited powers, and it's almost impossible to get anything done or to get any decision of any significance made. So meanwhile, the problems in relation to housing, transport and planning in particular continue to get worse. And we've outlined those problems in great detail here in this debate. I believe in balanced regional development in the interests of the country as a whole, but I also believe that Dublin can be the engine of our national economy, and that if Dublin does better, the national economy will also do better, provided that the necessary measures are taken to ensure that the benefits of economic growth are spread throughout the country. Approximately one-third of the workforce is concentrated in the Dublin region, and over 40% of Ireland's GDP is generated in Dublin. I believe, therefore, in the principle of a directly elected mayor, but the role and functions of such an office will have to be clearly spelled out in advance of any plebiscite taking place. But above everything else, there should be no duplication, no waste and no excessive bureaucracy created. We've had experience of the establishment of Irish Water. We've had experience of the establishment of the HSE. And I think that's left a sour taste for all of us. And the citizens will need to be assured that the office is necessary and that scarce resources are not being squandered. It will also have to be clearly spelled out in advance what is to happen with the existing mayors throughout the region and councillors, and how they are to be accommodated in any new reformed structure. The message is clear, therefore: no waste, no duplication, no unnecessary bureaucracy, and above all, no exorbitant salaries as well. These are the things that the citizens are going to be watching for when they are asked to vote on the proposals. You'd also have to trust the citizens that they will elect the right person, a person with the necessary skills to do the job. And I do actually trust the citizens to do that. Obviously we live in a democracy, but I believe that the Irish people are very attuned to the needs of politics, and you would hope, therefore, that some celebrity candidate doesn't come forward without the necessary skills or some household name that people might initially be attracted to, but just mightn't have the skills to do the job. The people of the United States have just elected President Trump, or President-designate President Trump. He's never held political office before, so we have to see how that works out. But the person who ultimately becomes the directly elected mayor will have to have a vision, will have to be creative, will have to have a strong personality, will have to have the political skills to do the job. And I do trust the citizens to do that. Obviously, I must do it as a Democrat, but I think it's something we need to be conscious of. A directly accountable Dublin mayor with executive powers could improve the quality of life of all those who live in the capital, given that many of our most pressing policy challenges in areas such as transport, housing and planning are most acute in Dublin. A directly elected mayor with the capacity to make and allocate resources would enhance our ability to respond to these challenges. Therefore, it is to be hoped that a directly elected mayor would contribute to efforts to tackle key strategic challenges and the promotion of continued economic development in our capital. A directly elected mayor with executive powers would give a greater democratic mandate to decisions which shape the strategic development of Dublin into the future. Having won a mandate from the citizens of Dublin, a directly elected mayor would be in a position to drive the development of the city. And most importantly of all, I think a directly elected mayor could also help raise the profile of Dublin at an international level, given the increasing competitive climate for foreign direct investment. In this regard, international investors would have one decision-making body in relation to a city, and they were, where they were considering investing, rather than having to deal with a multiplicity of agencies. A directly elected mayor equipped with additional powers would allow for clear political leadership at local government level. This would provide clarity to citizens as to who exactly is responsible for many of the key decisions which shape the development of the Dublin region and in relation to the function of local government more generally. So again, I thank the Green Party for bringing forward their bill. I thank Deputy Lahart for bringing forward his bill. There's great substance in both, great ideas coming forth from both bills, and I welcome the fact that the Minister now is going to set about consulting in this area and set about bringing forward measures for further consideration next year in this regard. Thank you.